we finish the first part of our header, then next what we need to do is we need to bring this cart icon just exactly the same way like this. All right, so let's go ahead and do that part. So this is the place where our UL tag is being completed. All right, so let's go there and let's see where is the UL is completed right after here. So right after here, now what I need to do is I need to bring that shopping cart icon. So to do that, I'm going to create one more division motion.div, not this, motion.div, enter. And of course we need to import the motion package as well. So let's go ahead and import that motion. Why it's not showing suggestions? All right, so import from framer motion, and here we need to say motion. So now that will be fine, and this is going to use that button click animation which we already created. So type button extract that button click, and of course it's not showing the suggestion as well. So let's go ahead and import that. Import from /animation, and here we need to bring that button click. So that can be imported now, button click. So we need to spread that. So now inside here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring that shopping cart. So basically, if you notice here, you can see shopping cart, top of the shopping cart, we have the count of that items. So let's bring the shopping cart first. So I'm just going to say MD shopping cart. So of course it's not showing the suggestions. So let me import that one as well. Import from /asset/icons, and we need to import the MD shopping cart. Okay, material design shopping cart. Now you can use that, and I'm going to give some font styles for this. So class name is going to be text3xl, and then text color. Save the changes, so that will be displayed over there. And if you click that, it has that nice wobble effect. And of course we need to change some styles for these this thing. So let's change that to class name is equals, that is going to be the relative position, and the cursor is going to be pointer. Now you can see the cursor is pointer, and if you click that, it's having that nice wobble effect. And we need to create one division over here, that is going to be div. Okay, and for this div I'm going to create one paragraph, and here I'm just, for the time being, I'm just typing this number 2. Then what we need to do, class name, so width W6, we're going to keep it W6, like 24 pixels, height 24 pixels, and then it's going to be rounded full, it's going to be a perfect circle. Then BG red 500. So now save the changes, so that will display like that, and everything should be arranged perfectly. Flex item center, justify content center, justify center. All right, so now what we can do is, so right after here, let me save the changes and let me make sure that you can see everything. So let me enable the word wrap. So fine, now we can see everything. And now what we need to do, we need to make this as an absolute position. Once I make this absolute position, it should move on to the minus top 4. So that will be at that position, and we need to move it to minus right 1. So that will be perfectly at the top position. So this is basically like the trial and error. You should adjust it until you feel perfectly fine. So text primary, and then text base, and then font semi bold. So now you can see that the exact design we achieved. So now the shopping cart is done, and right after that, now we need to bring that user information. So basically, if you noticed here, it's showing user information. If the user is not there, we need to display the login button. So we already have our user object in the cart, inside our all right, so its user object is showing now, so we need to re-log in one more time. That's fine. So if the user is not there, so let's get the user object from the Redux store. So const user is equals use selector hook. We need to get the use selector. Why the suggestions are not showing? Import from React Redux, and you need to get the use selector. So get the state is equals state dot user. Save the changes. Now we got the user object in our hand, and right after this division we need to load that. So over here what I'm going to say is, if the user is there, then we need to display that part. So let's give the React fragments. If the user is not, then we need to display this part. Let's create that React fragment. So if the user is not, first I'm going to bring that button over here, the login button. So let me go ahead and design that login button. So let's say nav link to that user should navigate it to the login. If the user is not there, this button should take the user to the login. Then what we're going to do is, basically we're going to create a button that is going to be the motion dot button, and inside this button I'm going to give a text as login. All right, so this button is going to have some button click event. So spread that operator and give the button click event and give the class name for it, class name. So we're going to add some px4, that means padding left and right, and py top and bottom 2, and we're going to make this rounded md. And then this button is going to have some shadow effects. So let's see how it looks like. It looks like that. So let's add some border effects. So bg light overlay as a background color. So now we have a light overlay color, and of course we need to add some border as well, border, and then border color is going to be red 300, and then the cursor is going to be pointer. So that looks like that. Fine. So now it's taking the user to the login. Okay, so this is logged in. So now what we need to do, if the user is there, login successfully, we need to print it as a user. So let me log in with my Gmail account. Let me log in over here. So click our account. So now we are logged in. The user object is saved. So that's the reason it's showing the user over there. If you open here and you can see it's showing the user object. Fine, that's cool, right? So next what we need to do is to design this user object. So let's go ahead and design that now. So inside this user object, instead of simply displaying as a user, I'm going to create a division, and this division is going to be class name, relative position. We're going to add this as a relative position and cursor pointer, because we're going to keep a menu option. If you see here, we have a menu option over here, which is absolute position. So that's the reason we are going to make this entire division as a relative. When I hover it, we're going to bring that menu option. So let's go ahead, and now the division is ready. Inside this division, what we're going to do is we're going to create that image layer first. So basically that is a division class name. We're going to fix that division with a specific height and width. So width 12 and height as well as is going to be 12, and rounded full, and shadow md, and cursor is going to be pointer, and overflow it's going to be hidden. And for the time being, I'm just going to give the bg green 200 so that you can see that color over there. All right, so now that's the design we created. I don't need this color because I'm going to bring that image inside that. Okay, so what we can do is we can say flex item center, justify center, and let's bring this image inside. Let's say motion dot image and self closing tag. We need to supply this class name for it. Class, it should take the width full and height full, and of course it's going to be the object cover. It should cover the complete circle. All right, then we need to supply the source. Basically the source is coming from the user object. So user question mark dot. So this is the conditional rendering. So please use the question mark wherever you're using an object which is coming from the Redux, because if you are refreshing, if this is mounting first, it will throw an error. So better use the conditional rendering. And now we need to get that photo URL. So let's go here and copy this picture and let's put it over here. So that will give the user picture. If the user have the picture, we need to load it. So user dot picture. If the user doesn't have a picture, we need to load the avatar from our assets folder. So let's load that avatar from our assets folder. Okay, and I'm gonna write a style for this image. So what we need to do is, because if you notice here, when I move my cursor over here, you can see the image is a little bit zooming in. So we need to do that. That is can be done by using your while hover, by your motion framer motion itself. While hover, I'm going to increase the scale of that image. That means the complete size to 115%. That's more than enough. So then now you can see, if you move, you can see that effect over there. So then what we need to do is, we need to add this referrer policies, because we are using the Gmail image. Sometimes it will not show it properly over there. So add this no referrer policy over there, so that this image will load perfectly if it is not loading. So you don't need to worry about it. This will handle that issue. Okay, so now it's successfully done. So next what we need to do is, we need to move on to the next part, which is basically that the drop down menu which we are having over here. That's really simple, because this is that image. So right after that image, what we need to do is, we need to bring that menu. So let's create that motion.div, because we need to have that smooth transition inside. So we're going to use the framer motion to achieve that. So then what we're going to do is, I'm going to create a class name basically. So class name is going to be px6. We're going to add the padding 6, and we're going to add the py4, and now we're going to add some bg light overlay and backdrop filter as blur md, and rounded it's going to be md. Let's see what we see over there. You can see we have a nice button of a small section over there. All right, so then what we need to do is, we need to add some shadow. So we need to add some shadow, my bad. Then what we need to do, we need to make it this as an absolute position. Once I added this absolute position, that will be perfectly underneath your image. So but I need to adjust the position a little bit. From the top I need to move it 12. That means almost 48 pixels. Okay, so exactly in the same place. Then from the right I need to push it to 0 position. That's fine. Then what we need to do, everything is going to be flex, but in a column direction, flex column direction, and gap between each and every object is going to be 4. So inside this, I'm going to bring the links. Okay, exactly the same link. So let me copy that link and I'll paste it over here. Let me paste it over here. These are the links that we're going to create it inside. Okay, let me close this. Save the changes. And link it's not imported, so let's move to the and import that link it from React router DOM. So now you can see we have that this dashboard, my profile, orders, and everything. All right, so then what we need to do is, all we have to do is to add that 2 different buttons. Sign out button over here, we need to bring that sign out button over here. So let's create that button. Right after this HR, we need to bring that button. So I'm just going to say motion.div, and that is going to be the spread operator. We can use the button click, and I'm just going to bring 2 different menu options. One is the logout menu, logout. So let me copy and paste it here. This is the logout button, which is basically coming from your assets icon, and we're fixing the size as 2XL, text color, group hover. We having the group hover. So group hover, that means basically whenever I'm hovering it, it should change the color of your paragraph and as well as the color of your this logout button as well. That's the reason. So here I need to create that group first. Class name, it's going to be group. Okay, group. We created it as a group. So then I'm going to keep it as a flex item center and justify it in the center. And px is going to be 3, that means left and right, and py is going to be top and bottom 2, and rounded md, and I'm going to add some shadow also, that is also shadow md, and bg gray color is going to be 200. And on hover, whenever I'm hover it, I'm going to change the bg gray to 200 so that I can make it here as 100. Then gap between these objects, it's going to be gap between these objects. What we can fix the gap as 3 for these objects, gap 3, and pretty much done over here. So now we can see that icon. Then right after this, we're going to bring that paragraph tag, and that is going to say as sign out. So let me copy this class, which is we need to add it for. So basically that is nothing but your text size, color, and everything. What is the text color you're going to use, and what is the size, and on group hover what color it should change. Save the changes, and now we can see that over here. All right, so when you're hovering it, it will looks like this, but there is a small mistakes in the menu option. But why? Because I haven't added a width for this division. I'm going to make this width as 48. Save the changes, and now you can see it's perfectly fine. All right, so this is perfectly looking good, awesome, and we need to display this only when we are hovering it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to this is the division, and from here to here it should not display initially. We're going to hide it completely. Right after this division, we need to bring it. So we need to create a state to monitor that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a state. So use state snippet. Let's say is menu. By default, it's going to be false. So only if that menu is true, if that state is true. If is menu, then we're gonna render it. Save the changes. So now this will not be displayed, but what we need to do is we need to make the state as an update. We need to update the state. When we're gonna update that state? Whenever this division for this, where is the division? This is that image, and to the top of this image we're gonna have that when we enter into on mouse enter, whenever we enter into that division, we're gonna call this callback function, and we're gonna change that set is menu state. Set is menu to true. So now if I go inside, it will bring that division, and when I come outside of this particular division, I'm going to change that state. So where is that motion division? So for this, I'm going to add on mouse leave. Whenever I'm leaving this division, on mouse leave that division, we need to change that state value. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it over here, and we're going to change this to false. Save the changes. Now if you come out, it will go back, and if you go in, it will come there. If you come out of this, it will be a removed. But the smooth transition, the transition is not a little bit smoother. So what we need to do is we're gonna add a property. Okay, we're gonna add. So what are the properties that we need to add? So here, let me open the animations. Inside the animations, we haven't created for a slider. So for sliding in, it should come in smooth and it should go out smooth. So what I'm going to do is for this, I'm going to say initial stage. This is not the motion division. Where is that? Oh, here it is. For the initial stage, the opacity is going to be 0. Okay, and the y value, it should come from bottom. The y value is going to be initially 30. Let me copy and paste a few more times, and this is going to be animate, and this is going to be exit. So once it started to animate, opacity should change to 0, and y value should change to 0. Okay, so initially it's going to be this. When it's animating, it should change to this. Once it's animated, while exiting, it should move on to this. So let me copy this. Copy. So now let's see whether it is working fine or not. Look at that, it's coming in smoothly. So let me cut this from here, because we can use this same style wherever we need it. And let me go to the animation, and here I'm just going to say export const slide top, and let me open the object and let me paste it over here, and open your multi-cursor editor by pressing Alt or Option key in your keyboard, and remove this and add the semicolon, and at the end add that and add the comma. Now this is fine. And here we need to spread that operator. So let's spread it out like slide top. So that will gives you the exact same option. So now we successfully completed the mobile menu, sorry, the header menu option. When you scroll down, when you move to it, so this will be disappeared and it will be perfectly fine. So now it's successfully responsive. All right then. So since we successfully finished the header section, so next what we need to do is we need to move on to the next important concepts. Basically, that is your dashboard, the main admin dashboard. We're gonna finish the admin dashboard, and then we're gonna come back to the front end to monitor all those changes and everything. So next, what we're gonna do, we're gonna fix this dashboard. That's what we're gonna do now. All right.